Right, Pecha Kucha 5, Collage again, and a little bit of Spider-Man. So hopefully this will be the end of the collage, but I can't make any promises. This seems to be where the focus of our studio is right now, but it was a workshop. The workshop is effectively over. Hopefully we can move on. We'll see. Fingers crossed. Right, so here's one of the few collages I've done that I did on paper. I really like the kind of Southampton Zoo lion poster. In the zoo that was talked about, there was a smoking chimp. I've kind of stuck this stuff down and tried to illustrate out of it, but really I think it's pretty obvious. I'm not sure what I'm doing. Moving on, there is a poem written about a guy traveling from London to Southampton, sort of kind of during the Dark Ages. And I've done a series of images. This is kind of a lead into it. It's not collage, but yeah. So here's the first one. We took our coach to coachman and four horses, and merrily from London made our courses. First line of John Taylor's poem about his journey from London to Southampton. I don't know if this is overly cliched, but I think we were still supposed to be doing things fast, and I kind of like the paper style, ye oldie paper background. So here I'm trying to kind of abstract the horses a bit more. They've been made out of old kind of transcripts of Southampton coach journey documentation. Am I using the diagonal rule? I'm not sure. So we wheeled the top of the heavy hill called Holborn, up which hath been full many a sinful soul born. One sinful soul that may have been up that hill was Charles I. John Taylor was making his journey to Charles, who had been deposed by Oliver Cromwell. So the historical context of this poem is quite interesting. An image that I found was of Netley Abbey, which is in Southampton. This is the base image from a book that we're looking at. I used this and messed around with the color palette to kind of see if I could do visual metaphors based on little phrases, just using this image and altering the color scheme. So here's a negative. This is based on a quote that's something like veiled in ghostly visions or something like this. So cliche number one, let's just put the negatives on, but it's a thought exercise more than anything else, and it could be an interesting screen print. The ruins, magical in nature, unveiled at nature's whim, quote something like that. So I've veiled it. I've used the existing architecture framing the picture, painted it green, and then added a kind of light halo. Again, it's not rocket science, but it's the same image. Something like forgotten, deserted, and ruined. Made it a nighttime image, kind of highlighted some of the layers of the image to make them pop a bit more. Added fog and a moon. Might have overdone it, not quite sure. So I did it again, and I kind of took the fog out, understate it a bit more. Highlighting kind of the clouds and bits of the ruin with a little bit of spray in Photoshop kind of gives it that soft moonlight view. It's something I should probably use when I'm doing nighttime stuff. Another take on the veiled in ghostly shadows or whatever it was. I just veiled the image with a kind of, like a veil, like an ominous dark sky kind of semiotic thing. It's it's a thinking exercise. So here's Mr. Bison. Just drew him real quick with pencils, inked him on paper, scanned him with the intention of colouring on Photoshop that was in my to-do list last week. So yeah, just knocked this out in like 20 minutes. You can tell because that hat, what is that hat? I don't know, but it's on his head. So just added block colour with the lasso tool, a little bit of highlights. This was another, kind of 10-15 minutes. More work needs to be done, but what I've got is encouraging. This is quite fast, quite straightforward, sort of thing I was going for. Yeah, I got a little sick of doing collage, so I snuck out a little sketchbook and drew Spider-Man at the end of one of my days at university. Just pencil with a Pentel brush pen. It's maybe not the smartest idea I've ever had, doing all the spider lines on his costume with effectively a paintbrush. Venom, next page, nice and big scary dude. Todd McFarlane, 80s, 90s Venom, Eddie Brock. You know, just with my Pentel brush pen again. The cartridge paper in my book, my little sketchbook, really kind of absorbs the ink. Doctor Doom, unfinished. I got kind of torn between doing the Jack Kirby style or the kind of updated skull mask thing he's got going on. I've seen both done really well, and I like both, and I just flip-flopped with this, and I just had to walk away. I'll be back, but yeah. Darkest Dungeon, pretty brutal game. I think animated in spine or something similar, with a art style like Mike Mignola's from Hellboy. Good. I'd like to do some kind of art in this style, do something with this kind of narrative tone. Good stuff. Speaking of narrative tone, just played the intro of Skyrim again. I must have seen this thing 50 to 100 times, but when you start as you mean to continue, you can get things done really well. Everything comes together, and it's as strong now as it's ever been. Yeah, so the to-do list, more stuff that won't be in the next Pecha Kucha. You know, like Bison, more paper to Photoshop, color tests. I need to think about moving away from the flat image. I've been encouraged to look at, you know, set design and 3D models, so we'll see what happens. Also, books where maybe pages interact with pages beneath, you know, using things like see-through pages, cutouts in places, fold-outs, pop-outs. I need to get started on my dissertation, get some research going. That's a major to do. Just general artist research. Doing more research on people I like Yoji Shinkawa, Mike Mignola, since I brought him up. People I don't know, but and maybe wouldn't know, that I can kind of relate to set design and all these cutout books and stuff. And then, of course, the Smiley Show, because I still haven't found the time. I must. But that brings us to the end of this Pecha Kucha. See you next time.